Well, my name is Destiny Macon. I'm a screenwriter and a director. Um, I've been making movies consistently for about 7 or 8 years. Um, and so I'm going to show y'all one of my pitch decks, which is more so like a pitch deck to get the movie made. But then we can also talk about the different types of pitch decks that there are. Um, so Rhodes wants people to submit for the film challenge. And so those pitch decks will be similar to this one. But you also have like a director's deck where you're just showing what you want the film to look like, the vibe, the tone, the aesthetics. And then you have like a DP deck, which is similar to the director's deck. Um, and then you have like more business oriented decks, which are like trying to explain to people what you're planning on doing with the money that you're requesting from them and how they can trust you with the money. So I'm gonna walk y'all through all of the things that you need to have in a deck, and then I'm gonna show you an example of how I did mine, and then y'all can ask me questions. Okay, so you have to have your title, obviously, and then probably on the first page, it's a good idea to say what the format of the project is. Like if you are doing an episodic, which is a TV series, you're doing a feature film, short film, and also let people know if you're doing live action, if you're doing animation, if you're doing animation, maybe what type of animation, things like this. And then you want to have a log line pretty early on, maybe the first or second page. The log line is, if y'all don't know, I figured out what a log line was by like going on Netflix. The the 1 or 2 line sentence or synopsis of the film is the log line. And you want to try to make sure you pack as much information into that as possible so that it sets the film apart and it makes the person who's looking at your deck intrigued to figure out what your story is about. And then short synopsis, you expand on the log line a little bit more. That's going to be different depending on what your project is. Because episodic, you may have a synopsis for the pilot episode, or you may have a general synopsis for what you want your entire show to be about or what you want the first season to be about. So you have different synopses. And then comps are comparisons. So you want to try to find projects that either have a similar storyline, similar tone, similar genre, and sometimes try to find stuff that was filmed on a similar budget. If you're pitching with like the financial aspects of things in mind. Um, so, for example, if you are doing a stoner comedy, you can think about a couple of stoner comedies and put them in there just so that the person reading it, because most of the time you're going to send this to people and they're going to look at this before they read your script and they may not even read your script. So you want them to have a snapshot of what this is. Yes.
The comps aren't just any film. There's something that people can relate to, or there's something they know.
Something that,
You think that's relatable to your film?
okay, so what I learned is that you want it to be relatable to your film, but you also want to make sure that it was successful. So you don't want to compare it to something that flopped, that lost money, is rated low on Rotten Tomatoes. And then you also, unless you are trying to make a film that's super niche and has a small audience, you want to compare it to something that a lot of people have seen so that you can make sure that they get what you're talking about.
And about comps,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to try to if you're making a movie that's about the future and you referenced them, all your comps are films from the 20s. Is that a good way to go, or would you recommend using more relevant films?
So if you are pitching to someone who's older, it's more likely that they have watched those, but even older people may not have dug that far back. Um, So if you're gonna go that route, I would say if you're presenting your pitch deck like electronically, you could have a little clip from whatever you're talking about, just to show them what the vibe is, what it looks like, what it feels like. Otherwise, it may be pointless for you to reference that because they won't know what you're saying.
So
Mhm.
include a clip from something
Yeah.
in your pitch deck? So this is supposed to be electronic with clips inserted?
So sometimes, I mean, most of the time, people are not going to print your pitch deck out and look at it on paper. So you can put GIFs in there or GIFs, however you say it. You can put trailers to different things. They can click on it and they can watch it. Or you can even have it to where it's like playing continuously on the slide. So I say you could get as creative as you want to with that. I've never put a actual moving video, but I've seen people do that, and I usually include links to things that I'm referencing, which I might have on this one, but I'm not entirely sure. So then you want to go into the filmmaker's statements / bios, just to let the person know who all is attached to the project already. And I would only include people who are 100% attached, not like your AD or your DP. Typically, indie grants, they have a requirement where they want you to have your DP, your AD, and all those crew members listed. But if the person you're listing on here doesn't have like some really serious stock in the project to where it's like this project is not getting made without them, then I wouldn't suggest including them. So,
So for, just to speak to you guys, but talking this way for the microphone, if you're presenting the pitch deck for the film challenge, the writing challenge, you're not going to have those people. You can you just put people in that you think would be a good fit for that role, placeholders per se.
And ask them if
Yeah.
it's okay to include
Or
them.
even use famous
typically.
actors, like, you know, people that you know that have played certain character types that would fit
Well,
that
I
role.
haven't gotten to the
Oh, I'm
cast
so
list
sorry.
yet. This is just crew.
But if you don't know everybody, just find placeholders.
Yeah. Yeah, and then sometimes I will include people who I haven't asked yet, and I'll just put on their crew wish list. So it's like these people are not locked in, but I would like to work with them, and I think maybe list some skills that they have or like why I want to work with them, or even include links to their work that they've done previously so that whoever's looking at it can check them out because they're probably not a famous crew member and they know who they already are.
What if, what if you're the writer, director, and producer, like what you do you just list yourself like over and over again?
I try not to do that because it doesn't look good. It looks like you're alone and you don't have any backing or partnership. So, if it's just something I wrote and I'm just trying to shoot my shot and see what happens, then I will ask someone who I think is capable to help me produce it if I can include them on the project if something happens with it. But they probably wouldn't help me with the pitch deck at all. But then in other cases, y'all might be working on it. I can show y'all a couple different pitch decks because I made like a million of them. But like if that person is like seriously involved with the project, like another feature that I have, I wrote it with someone, and so she's gonna star in it, she's gonna produce it, I'm gonna direct it, and we both wrote it. We both like collaborated on the pitch deck, and like she's locked into the project. Yeah, and then the filmmaker statement is different from the bio. So the bio is just like, this is who I am. And you also want to make sure that you include things that are relevant to filmmaking. Like you want to be like, this is what I do outside of being a filmmaker, and this is how I can relate this to my filmmaking. But you don't want to just be like, I was a teacher for 10 years and then I worked at Trader Joe's or something, and it doesn't relate back. It's like, okay, what's the point? What does this have to do with your project, and how is this going to help you make your project?
Trader Joe's is really cool.
It is really cool, but if you're like, I worked at Trader Joe's and then I have this connection and I'm going to film my project at Trader Joe's because now I know them, then it relates. What'd you say?
Or
Bucky's.
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 So even if you did like work at Trader Joe's, you still want to like keep it filmmaker adjacent, like if you did it
Yeah.
as a hobby or
Yeah.
something? Okay.
How it comes back, because like my day job is engineering, so I always say that because my main project I've been trying to get made is about an engineer, and so it like legitimizes my project, the fact that I know what I'm talking about.
For sure.
Okay, and so the statement is different from the bio because the statement is like, this is why I want to make this. This is why I feel led in my spirit to make this project happen. And this is like what I think that this is the impact I think this project will have on the world. This is why the story needs to be told. Things like that. And then visuals. I always make my stuff in PowerPoint, but you can do it in Canva. I've made one in Canva actually, which I'll show y'all too. But you can do a PowerPoint, Canva, Photoshop, InDesign. I've never used InDesign, but I've heard that that's a good one. And so you want to try to fill up the space as much as possible with images. Well, in my opinion, because you don't want to just have like a blank page with some words on it, because you could have just gave them a paper. Like you want it to be a visual experience and let them feel like they're kind of watching the movie. Like it's kind of a trailer. They're supposed to be getting in the mind of whatever you're creating. And so I always say try your best not to get low resolution images to put on there because it just makes it look a little cheap. So you can get a subscription to Shot Deck, which is like $13 a month. And you can get stills from movies directly. They have a great database. You can go and look at films, TV shows. You can search by season. You can go in there and search like if you want exterior shots, if you want colorful shots, you want black and white shots, if you want a shot of a girl, like different things like that. It helps you narrow that down.
What's the name of the website?
Shot Deck.
Shot Deck.
And they
Mhm.
partner
With what, Canva?
Canva.
Okay, I didn't know that.
There's like a add-on, shot deck add-on on Canva. And it just pulls in all the photos.
What? That's cool. Okay.
But you have to have a subscription.
Oh, okay. You can't just get one and it's an add-on. Okay. Yeah, and then sometimes for me, like whenever I'm searching stuff, I'm always trying to do some black sci-fi, and there's not that many black sci-fi movies, so I'll have to go on Dream Studio AI. That's my favorite AI, but y'all can go on any AI if you want to, if you don't feel like it's immoral, and just have a dream search and come up with the image that you're looking for. Just because it's more specific, but be aware that they do weird things with the eyes a lot of times, and then the fingers, you'll have like 10 fingers on one hand.
Weird textures.
Yeah, it's just a lot of weird
Random
things.
holes in their faces.
Yes.
Lovecraftian.
That's how the demons get to us.
Yes.
I got a question. So I know you have the pitch deck. This is before you actually make any kind of trailer or any video, correct?
Well, it could be at any point. So the first one I'm gonna show y'all is after I actually made like a 2-minute teaser, then I made a short film, and so now I'm trying to get the feature made. So you could be at any stage. You could have the full feature made and use images from that if you're trying to get distribution or if you're trying to get some finishing funds. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish with it. And then sometimes, like, if you plan on producing it, like, sometimes you may write a script and just be like, here, this is it. But you would likely not create a pitch deck for it. But you also could, just to give the person an idea of what the story is, so they'll read it. But if you're selling it, you don't need to worry about a timeline because you're not going to be producing it. You don't have to worry about when you're casting it, when you're getting your locations, when you're crewing up, or any of that. And then cast wish list. So you can list like local actors that you know that you've worked with, but that is also not going to be as helpful because the person looking at it would have to go and look at that person's reel, get an idea of who they are as an actor. But if you are like, I want this type of person, like if you want a Kiki Palmer type person, like y'all may not know who Kiki Palmer. Do y'all know who Kiki Palmer is?
VP.
Oh, I haven't even seen her in
Is
those.
that what it's Stu Jackson? No?
Oh,
He's been
okay.
in a long time.
She was in Aquila and the Bee,
Mhm.
and then she was in Nope.
Yup.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm. Yeah. So like you pick an actor that's like, I want this type of person, like maybe Seth Rogen, like I want a squishy white guy that's funny, or you want like, like a hot guy that's in shape, whatever. You give them that specific aesthetic and acting style. And then your goal, I don't ever put my goal on the pitch deck just because I don't know who I'm sending it to and it might be a different goal. But your goal will kind of determine what you include in the pitch deck. So if you want them to give you the money, you need to prove to them that you got what it takes to make the movie. If you want them to make it with their own money, then you just need to prove that your story is good and worth them spending their money on. And then accolades and past successes, just to prove that you've been working, you've succeeded, accomplished some things, and to let them know that like you have what it takes to make things happen. And not just do it, but to do it well. So you want to showcase your best work and your most important accomplishment. Yeah. Any questions before I show pitch decks? Yes.
Can you, like, if you have other people tied to it, or at least essentially saying they want to be part of it, can you put their work on it as well?
Mhm. Yeah. So
If you don't have anything that kind of fits that, then maybe they do.
So if you are going to be the director of the project, then you will probably want to show something you're directing. But if they're producing, you're going to find something they produced. So whatever role you're playing, you want to show an example of that. Because I've seen a lot of pitch decks where people are, maybe they're actors and they've never directed before, and they will show or list off acting jobs that they've done, which it shows that you've been working, but it doesn't show anything about your ability to direct. So try to be specific with that.
So what kind of people are you normally sending this pitch decks to? Production companies, other producers, investors?
So for me, it's like a couple of different things. Like there's competitions. There'll be one I recently did was for Series Fest, which is like a film festival just for TV shows. And so they wanted me to send in my script along with my pitch deck, and that's just to get an idea of what the show would look like. And then they also actually had a competition with Canva. So it's like if you made it in Canva and it was really good, then you could win some money. And then other times there have been like producers who have reached out to me or who I've connected with, and they're like, they want to see what I've been working on, or they want to read something. And a lot of times people don't want to read your full script, so they might read like the first 10, 15 pages or the first act or something, and look at your pitch deck and then just get a general idea of what the story is going to be to see if they care or not. Because most of the time people, unless they really are invested in you and know that you're really good, they're not going to want to read your entire script.
Treatment.
Huh? Treatment? Yeah.
About the length of the pitch deck, would you recommend, like, because, like, for example, like, for each bullet point, which parts could be combined onto one page, which parts would be one page, which parts would be 2 pages?
I think it's up to you, like how you want to set it up, but probably like you want to you want to do everything that introduces the story together, everything that introduces the visuals together, and then everything that has to do with production together. So production, I would say, is cast and crew, timeline, filmmaker statement type. Well, the filmmaker statement might want to go with story, depending on what your goal is. Like if you want to show your emotional or lived experience and how that connects to the story, then you might want to put that up front, which I think I did in mine. But I never know where I want to put it. Sometimes I'll put the bio at the end because it's like, okay, find out about the story, now learn about me. Or sometimes it's like, you might need to care about me first and then, get into the rest of it. So it's up to you.
The short synopsis, like how long should that be?
So it should probably fit on one page and you should be able to use big letters to do it. Because you don't want them looking at everything else big and then have to squint in for the synopsis.
So not quite a tweet, but
300 words?
A paragraph.
Yeah, maybe like
50 words, 100 words, something like that.
maybe 200 words.
Oh,
And I also heard this that you shouldn't tell the ending. It's up to you, but just give them enough and don't give them the ending. So if it piques their interest, that would kind of force them to read the script. Yes.
Honestly, just to add to what you were saying, because like, with you having your history with wide angle and the other current wide angle person, they were saying that with episodics, whenever you're pitching a TV show, you can reveal the ending for like a season, just so they know that you can make
Oh yeah.
more out of it.
Mhm.
Because with the show, they want you to be able to live in that world for like at least 2 seasons or 3. But then with like features and other shorts, what you're saying is like don't reveal the ending because they want to be on that journey. It's like a streamline. So that's just something that I heard.
Yeah, and then additionally with TV shows, they have like a thing called a series deck, which looks kind of like, it's like they all have these different names. You have lookbook, pitch deck, series deck. The series deck, you want to have probably a log line for each episode in the first season, and then a log line for each season after that. So say you have 6 episodes in the first season, you have 6 log lines listed, and then you have season 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you have like a synopsis for that. Or a general theme, like this is the lesson that these group of characters will learn, and this is the journey they'll go on in this season. So that might extend your deck for you to have to put in all that information. Yeah. Any more questions? Okay. Oops.
Presentation's done.
I set it
I
all
got
up.
one. So if you're like newish and you're trying to do your accolades and things,
Yeah. In that case, it might be good to have a what is it called? Proof of concept to put in there, like to play, so they can see that it's gonna have good quality. Like if you just do a 2-minute thing, they can watch it and they're like, okay, this person knows how to at least hire a experienced DP, or the story flows. They got good actors. Yeah, they did a good job. Okay, so this is mine for my feature that I've been trying to get made for a long time. So these laurels right here are writing programs that I got accepted into. And I went ahead and put this up front just so they're like, okay, this girl's been working on it. She's serious about it. And then these are stills from my actual short film, which may or may not work. Like if your short film is like not the quality that you want your feature to be, I wouldn't suggest doing that. You could get some stills from from like movies, from Shot Deck. I only did this because I thought they looked good. And I feel like this is pretty much what the feature is gonna look like. So here's my log line. I'll read it to y'all if you can't see it. A timid engineer develops a bold, split personality to help her stand up to the boys' club at work and protect a historically black neighborhood from gentrification. And then genres: buddy comedy, fantasy, romance.
how many renditions did you go through to get to that log line?
I think I have 2. It's really, I didn't.
Because that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that might be one of my skills. But yeah, so you want to like be intentional too with the images that you show. So I called it a buddy comedy, and then you see these two sitting in this truck together. So it's like, oh, they're friends. And then Boys Club, and she's flipping out on these men. So you can assume that she's the split personality, and she's standing up to the Boys Club right here. And then my introduction, I think, is too long. You see, like, the words are too small, or the letters are too small. Um, but if you were to read it, it doesn't really tell everything that happens, but it gives a good general idea of what the story is. And then I also included a link to the short film. Let's see if it works. Yeah, so this is my Film Freeway page. So you can also come in here, play the trailer, look at the poster, look at all the stills. And then it's my bio, my headshot. Oh, and then yeah, probably want to have nice headshots put on there.
Yes, I mean, on the Film Freeway page, is that a site, I mean, do you have to have a Film Freeway account to see that page, or is it just like basically like a
Yeah,
page for your information?
everybody can see it, and then I set the privacy to password protected. So I have to include the password on the pitch deck so that they can actually watch it.
Okay.
But other projects I have like are out and available for people to see, so I don't have them protected. And then this is just like it's like boasting, I guess, but for the purpose of letting whoever looks at this know that I've accomplished some stuff, so they're like, she's serious. And this is also to show that the short film was well liked, so it's a good chance that the feature would be well liked. And not just I made it, but like I shared it with people, tested it with an audience, and it did pretty good. And then, oh, I didn't put this on my list. I have to add it. But you want to give a snapshot of your characters, especially your lead characters, like who they are as a person, what their flaws are, what they are after, and how the journey of this movie is going to impact them. And you want to, with all of this, you want to be as concise as possible and don't be like going into specific scenes. In this specific scene, a specific moment, just a general idea. Let me see if I can read one. So at the end of this, I said, workplace pressures, family expectations, and a psychotic split will bring her to the end of her rope. This is where she'll discover her true strength and rise like a phoenix out of the ashes. So it's just like boom, boom, boom. She's stressed out. She's gonna go crazy.
Hey, Destiny,
Mhm.
before you move on, can you kind of like summarize it the way that you just did, where it's like character snapshot mentions like their flaws, their wants.
Their flaws, their goals, and how the journey of the movie is gonna alter who they are as a person or impact their goals.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then, okay, so up until this point, I've just been using stills from my own movie, but this is from Insecure because Insecure is a common comp for Talk Black, even though Talk Black's not a TV show, but it's about an awkward black woman, and mine's about an awkward black woman. And so when people see this, it's like, oh, okay, it's gonna be an Insecure vibe. And Insecure had 5 seasons on HBO Max, so it's a good comp because it was really successful. It was well liked and made a lot of money. And I just compared my main character to the main character of Insecure. This is introducing her alter ego, which was cool because I could actually get the images from the movie and show what it looks like. This is another comp. I did my comps in a different type of way with this one. Like, I didn't call out what the movie is right here, but you probably know what it is.
Nutty Professor?
Yeah, Nutty Professor. which is a main comp for mine because it's split personality, it's black people. He's a nerdy person who wants to be cooler. Um, this is just like a B story. So this my reasoning behind showing these images is the fact that I want to shoot this movie in Greenville. And so I'm showing people who are not from here what it looks like and how it inspired me to like want to put it in my story.
So what section would that be called?
Backstory.
What kind of cameras do you use?
On the short,
Yeah.
RA Alexa Mini.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at this cover. Yeah,
Thank you. And then this is the antagonist. You also want to show the villain because the villain's very important. Whatever obstacle they have, you want to show how big the obstacle is so that you can show how insurmountable the struggle is going to be. This is just her family, her love interest. She gets two love interests in this movie.
So you've added this for the feature.
Yeah. The feature, the short is like
Yeah.
a day is one of the days over like probably 15, 25 days of the feature. And then this is like me accomplishing two things at once, the look and feel and the comps. So it's gonna look like the last black man in San Francisco, blind spotting, insecure, girls trip. Probably not so much girls trip. But all of these are comedies except Last Black Man, but that's slightly comedic in ways. And they have a vibe to them. So you look at this image and you're like, okay, so it's going to be somewhere in this world.
Had you seen your comps beforehand, or did you just found them?
No, I had watched them all.
Yeah, so it's things you knew.
Yeah. But some things
How would you find something that?
So I guess once you lock in what your genres are, I would say just search those types of movies and then pick whichever ones come up that were pretty successful, made a lot of money.
And where are you getting these comp images from? Is that from Shotlook?
Shot Deck.
From Shotdeck.
When your comps come from the movies that are kind of inspiring you to make the film that you're making.
Yeah. Well, The Nutty Professor was the main inspiration, but that's old. So that's another thing. Like I wanted to have more present day examples. So some of these are TV shows, most of these, which you typically want to have a comp which is in the same format as whatever you're making. But this is how I want it to look. Yeah. Cinematic, the type of color is very colorful, very like the skin tones are popping. And then to prove even more so how well these films are doing, because sometimes people don't want to take a bet on a comedy because it's riskier than a horror or something like that. But I'm just showing how much each movie made. Or the TV show had 5 seasons, so it was doing pretty well. And then casting. This is one thing that I heard, like because originally I think I had Keke Palmer was who I wanted to play Mahogany. But this is a really random story. I saw Antoinette Robertson on this movie called The Block Party on BET Plus. And 2 days later, her manager messaged me on Instagram because he saw Talk Black on HBO. And he was saying he wanted a film for her to star in. This is kind of a sad story. But he wanted a film for her to star in. I was like, that's so cool. I just saw her and I was thinking she would be perfect to play Mahogany. But long story short, they were like, we want somebody who's like an established director to attach with her. So that didn't work out. But anyways, I didn't want to just have Keke Palmer on here because then if I send it to her manager and they're like, you want Keke Palmer, you don't want Antoinette. So that's why I made more of like a broader range. But also if someone like I didn't know who Antoinette was or Sashir Zamata, so y'all may not know who that is, and then maybe you know Kiki Palmer. So if you have multiple people, it's more likely they'll know one of them. And so like prime example, yeah. Well, actually, I did this wrong because I just have one Jason Bateman, but that's who I want to play him. But you get the vibe. Jason Bateman usually plays like a sarcastic, snarky type of person, so you know the energy I'm going for. And then this was generated off of Dream Studio because I couldn't find the image that I wanted. And this statement right here, which you might want to add to your list of things to put in the pitch deck, is a tagline. So that could go like back in the day whenever they were selling DVDs, DVD cases, you have a tagline on the case, but they might put the tagline on the poster. So my tagline is when code switching gets a little too extreme. Yes. So this one was created in PowerPoint. I have one that I did in Canva, or I can show y'all one I did for a TV series, whichever one y'all want to see.
I noticed you use like edge to edge
Yeah.
picture.
Mhm.
You weren't just using the background with some.
Yeah, exactly. I try to fill up the space. So y'all want to see the one in Canva? And the cool thing about Canva is, which I learned during this process, is you can embed a link to it. So you don't have to download the PDF and like send that. You can send a link and it's like a website. So this one's a little bit like adult themed, just so y'all know. So it's kind of like a live experience, which I think is super cool. And Canva is really cool because you can get a pre-made template. You can edit the template like this. I like the texture on this image, and then I just threw on like emojis and stuff like that and changed the words. But you see, like right here, you know exactly what it is. It's a half-hour comedy TV series. So you want to give them as much information up front as possible. My log line. Y'all want me to read this one?
No, it's bigger lettering.
What'd you say?
Bigger lettering.
Oh yeah. So this one is less oops. This one has less images, but I had less to draw from because I didn't have the short, you know. But okay, so the other one was like super smart black woman, she's an engineer, is inspirational. This one's like clearly this is like a erotic comedy type of situation. So you like create the vibe with whatever images or emojis or whatever you use. And then this was actually from a commercial. So this show is about a robotic man. But what's his name? Michael B. Jordan played Siri in a commercial, and it was kind of perfect. And so this one is an example of exactly what they asked for, Series Fest. They said 15 pages or less, so they don't typically want you to make these decks too long. And they wanted me to have my creator statement, so I explained like what drew me to want to make this show, like what is unique about me to be able to pull this show off and things like that. And they mandated that I only have 2 comps. So I have these 2 here. Look and feel. I didn't list what these shows are, but that's Sorry to Bother You. They Clone Tyrone, P Valley, and Someone great. And then also, like, you kind of want to show your locations too. So this location is it's almost like a character in this show because they're in this laboratory where they're creating these bots. And so I was able to get good images from Westworld because they have a laboratory where they're creating bots that look just like humans. So, creating that vibe. And then you want to break down your characters. I combined the characters in this one because I only had 15 pages. So I had to do what I had to do. And then
So on Canva, the template would just be called pitch deck if you're searching on Canva.
it will be called what? Pitch deck?
What would you search for?
I think it was pitch deck or presentations, one of those. And so I have like a short synopsis of each episode in the season. And another thing you can do, which I did on a past storyboard, the storyboard that the pitch deck I used to get the short film funded, I had storyboards drawn and I put those in there. And that just goes to show that you're like a step ahead of just writing a script. You're already working with people to develop the art and the direction for it. So specifically, if you want to direct, it would be good for you to have the storyboard so that they can see what.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna add on to that and say, anything you can show that you've already worked towards doing this project regardless
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, like if you have gotten your crew or if you got your DP and then you can shoot the teaser to show what it'll look like or just to show the what's it called? Blocking. Like this is where we want to put the camera, this is the vibe, things like that. And then this is an example of she did not help me write this. She isn't really attached to be a producer, but I just wanted her name on here. So Shakia was an actress on my other short film, the one I just showed y'all. And she's a writer and she's actually produced like 3 features that have gotten distribution. So that's why I included her because she's done what I'm needing her to do in this. And so in that case, like I just have the bios here. And then I also, this is another one that was based on a short film. So I could have used these images, but I didn't like it. Didn't look as professional as the other one. So this is just like, hey, I've already been developing this story, but I didn't want to just showcase all the stills because they weren't up to what I wanted them to be. Yeah.
In general, would you recommend like having sort of a proto short version that you've already made, like short film that you want to turn into a series or a feature, as opposed to just referencing you're showcasing images that might have something to do with it from other projects, from other more professional made things?
I mean, if you've directed a feature before, then I wouldn't say you need to do that. But if you haven't directed a feature, then you probably want to make whoever you're pitching to feel comfortable that you're able to do it. So I would say yes. But, definitely a combination of the two, like
Gotcha.
stills from produced stuff and your own work.
Sure.
Yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
I know that you touched on this a little bit at the beginning, but now that we've seen the pitch decks, can you explain to us how a directorial deck is different than a pitch deck?
So you don't have to sell yourself in the directorial deck because most likely it's already funded. You just want the rest of the crew to know what you want it to look like. So I've never spent much time doing that, but I did do one for my set designer, just to let her know the direction I wanted things to go in. Like these are the colors, this is the aesthetic, this is the vibe, so that she can create. And then that also helps with your costume department. So if you shows, then they're like, okay, so you want the characters to kind of generally be dressed like this, or even hair and makeup. You can give them examples of like how you want people to look. And so when you're directing, people ask you a million and one questions like, how do you want this? How you want this? How you want this? And so I say that like the more information you can give them going into it is the less stress you have to have on set. Um, and the more they have an idea of what they can do and they can run with that and they can make it their own instead of you having to micromanage the project.
Have you had to, like, you're presenting this, have you had rehearsed it and like know what extra information you're gonna say? Do you have those notes on the side somewhere?
I've only pitched 2 times, like in front of people. Oh, um, side note, Wide Angle through Indie Grants, they're having a pitch fest in May, which I would come to if I were y'all, because they're gonna be working on projects for like 8 or 9 months, and then you can see how they pitch in front of people, and they're actually gonna be pitching in front of like producers and financiers, so you can see how their process works. But I did that in 2019, and in that case, I don't like to have cards because it's gonna stress me out. So I just reference it and then I kind of go with it.
Where's that gonna be? The wide angle?
I think it's in Charleston. I think it's gonna be at Trident Tech, but I'm not sure.
The date's not locked in yet, but as it comes up, we'll share it with Rhodes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Um, do y'all want me to, or do y'all want to look at Shot Deck or look at one of the AI things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking this and sending it out to people at the cold email or anything, or
No, usually
is that out to?
it's people. So I feel like I'm a spokesperson for film festivals, but people that I meet at film festivals that are like, I really liked your short. What are you working on next? And then you're like, I have this project I want to do, and you send them the script and the pitch deck, and they just review it on their own. I haven't had to pitch to them, but if you are lucky and people are wanting to give you money, you will be pitching to them most likely. Actually, I did have to pitch virtually. I don't like doing that, but I just shared my screen and clicked through and talked the same way I'm talking to y'all. Yes.
So whenever it came to like pitching, specifically with like the virtual experience,
Mhm.
did they already know you on like a professional end, or was this like a friend of a friend recommended them to hear your story and see your deck? And then you had to explain who you were to them, or did you just talk about the story?
Oh, I didn't explain who I was because that time it was a casting director who I had met, and he came to the American Black Film Festival and watched the film. And so he was working with producers who wanted to start funding projects. And so he had been pitching me to them, not the project, but pitching me. And so then I had to just pitch the project because they are already aware of who I was. Yeah. Okay, so on Shot Deck, you can browse by the titles, type of shots you want, and I never looked at decks. I don't really know. Oh, these are my decks. Funny. Oh, but like Shot Deck is good for shot lists too, because I recently did this on a short, and it was like one of the most helpful things ever. But like if I wanted a wide shot, I went in Shot Deck and got a wide shot that had the same composition. The people are standing where I want them to stand. The lighting's similar, so that the DP is like looks at that and sets it up instead of me being like, "This is how I want it to look." Like just doing everything you can do beforehand, so that you don't have to explain to people on set.
We did one where we found the shots we like and actually went and found the clips because it gives you all the information from each of the photos.
Okay. Let me see.
So So yeah, you can
Right
find
here.
the information of when it was shot, what the title is, and all that stuff. And then we found the clips, and we're able to make like a little pre-trailer
Okay.
thing.
Where'd you get the clips from?
Well, once we knew the name of the movie, we just searched it and then pulled it.
Pulled it from where?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know you can get stuff off of YouTube and use like 4K downloader. That was the thing I used to do when I made teasers from other things, but yeah. You used to have to pay for a 4K downloader? Oh, dang.
OBS screen recorder.
They used to
OBS?
call those rip reels.
Oh.
You just play it back and record your screen. If it's okay.
Oh, okay. That's smart. Yeah, so anyways, this shows like the color palette, aspect ratio, format, shot type, lens size, all this stuff. And then the other cool thing about Shot Deck is like if you like how this shot looks, it shows you shots that have a similar look and feel from various movies. So that's also how you could find other comps. Like if you haven't, okay, so this is from Pride and Prejudice, and then this right here is from Lord of the Rings. So I could be like, oh, this looks similar. Watch a little bit of Lord of the Rings and could become a comp. Yeah.
It's extremely useful.
It is. I really love this site. It's awesome. And so if you want to browse by titles, say like, I don't know why, but I've needed stuff from Black Mirror a lot. So come in here. Where is it? Black Mirror. And then you can choose what season. I don't think they have the last season. And you can even choose the episode. And there are stills from random points throughout this episode. And all you do is click on it. I usually just click on it, copy it, paste it into my presentation. And over here you can filter by like, media type is format. So like movie, TV, trailer, music video, genre, and even if you want to filter by characters, traits, their age, gender, how many people are in the scene, interior, exterior, time of day, a lot of different really specific things for the look. So directing pitch decks, I think this is like 100% probably where you want to go. Yeah. And then I'll show y'all a little bit from Dream Studio.
Is this what you use in the business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this was me trying to get stuff for the boy toy pitch deck. But okay, like one of y'all can tell me what you want it to dream and then I'll have it dream something. A what? Smokey and the what?
And the Bandit. It's Burt Reynolds.
Smokey and the Bandit. Okay. So what's happening? What do you want them to be doing?
So let's just say,
This is generating an image, so what do you want the image to be?
Yeah, you gotta describe it.
big truck. Just a big truck going down the highway.
A big truck going down the highway.
Yeah, like some-
Okay.
So I say put like semi-tractor, down the highway, police. Yeah.
Semi-tractor
Being chased by police.
being chased by police.
With cows in the middle of the street.
So then is the truck coming to a sharp stop?
We'll find out.
Okay. And then you can go up here, you can choose your aspect ratio, so it can be 1:1. 9:16, you can go the other way, 16:9. And you can also alter your style. So do y'all want this to look animated, cinematic?
Cinematic.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna dream it. It takes a little while.
So how much are these subscriptions for these sites?
This is really cheap. Like, right here is my credits, and I think I spent $10 like a year or something ago, and it just takes off a few cents every time. So,
Nice.
and you have to pay attention because there's always something wrong with it. But it looks like it's doing pretty good because it's inanimate objects and animals. But once you get to people, that's when it struggles.
That is a good struggle. Being guided by cows.
Either really large cows or really small
All
cows.
right, it sound man on that.
Yeah, so, if you couldn't find that very specific thing that you wanted, a truck with cows around it, you can generate it in here.
Is that using like Chat GDP or like
Yeah.
Midjourney?
I don't know.
Has it sound
Honestly.
specific for Midjourney?
OpenAI
It's
is
Stability AI, so it's using the Google one.
Okay. This is my favorite one. I always use this.
Although Sora is a little better now.
What is it?
Sora?
SORA?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's the one that Tyler Perry saw and then said, I'm not building a studio.
That's not going to be good.
OpenAI is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Sora is OpenAI.
Does that same thing? Gotcha.
It's their motion image generator.
Oh, okay. We'll check them out.
What else would you like to see?
I mean, we're at 57 minutes, so
Okay, good.
Let's get crazy.
thank you guys for coming.
Hey.